I have in this duffel bag 400 of these raised pavement markers that I've collected. They've come loose and I've collected from the road, 8 miles of road that are part of my bicycle commute to work. Now I think the use of these is excessive, and at some point you can only do so much for safety, and you have to have people just pay attention to the road. Take your eyes off the phone and off your display on your dashboard. Just pay attention to driving. I know these are used on this stretch of road where I ride. They're used to mark the yellow lines that separate lanes, but they don't use them, of course, along the right side of the white line, because of course if you drifted off the white line, the most could happen, maybe you hit a bicyclist, no big deal. But you wouldn't want to drift into the other lane and hit another car, of course. That would be a problem. So yeah, I mean, I think the painted lines are enough. And if that's not adequate, just say pay attention to your driving. And if you can't, if you can't see the lines, maybe you shouldn't be driving, or you at least slow down. So I'm trying to look for some help to get this problem noticed. When you drive, you probably don't see these, but when you're on a bike, you notice them. And again, I've picked up 400 in the past year just along 8 miles of road. According to South Carolina DOT, there are 3 million of these or more across the state. And yeah, and just looking for some help. I'm going to head on the road now and show you a section of where I collect these and explain a little more about the problem. See you out there. Thank you. Alright, I'm out on Sproul Ave, a section of my bike route where I collect a lot of these raised pavement markers. And I'm going to step out in the street as soon as I get a chance, and I'll show you a little closer about how you can tell how many of these have been placed. I'm running out there right now. I'm going to flip the camera over. So you can see the remnants of all the epoxy or adhesive where these have been placed. And so yeah, I've been in contact with South Carolina DOT, told them about this problem. They don't seem to think it's an issue. And another thing I found out, speaking with them, with their engineering group, they don't do any life cycle testing of the adhesive. They just do an initial, in the lab, do an initial bond rating for strength, and that's it. And they also don't track how many of these come loose over time. There are, according to South Carolina DOT, there are roughly 3 million of these across the state, 3 million of these markers, and they swap them on a 3-year rotation, roughly 1 million a year. And I would wager, well, in fact, I know they don't have any figures on how many they collect when off the roadside, which I would wager is they collect probably close to 0. If you want to do an over/under, I put 20 on under any day. But yeah, I think it should be addressed. One issue is I think they use way too many of these. Much of the world, much of our country, where there's snow, they don't use these. People get by. You have a painted line on the road. Hey, if you can't see if you can't see, maybe it's time to stop driving. Whether it's too dark, or you have issues where you can't see well at night, maybe it's time to stop driving. There's a limit to what you can do for safety. I think the use of these is excessive. Up the street further, they're placed 4 across every 40 feet. It's a total waste. And another thing is when these break loose, they do float. And so where do they end up? I'll show you where they end up. Right down the storm drain, right here. That's where they go. They go to the side of the road, and next heavy rain comes along, and down the drain they go into the creeks, and more plastic pollution. Thank you. But yeah, so if you can get a hold of your representatives, see if there's something to be done about this. This is excessive, and it's not only a waste of taxpayer dollars, but an environmental problem as well. Thank you.